My name is Charles Neff. I'm the Network Operations Supervisor for McCoy's. When it comes to ISE, the main challenge that we were trying to address is with our retail environments, we don't have control over the physical access to all the ports. And we didn't really have any network access control. So ISE is going to, has and will continue to allow us to secure, that's kind of our edge environment there at the retail stores. It's also going to provide more security as we're rolling out more wireless. We're kind of expanding our footprint to just outside of the retail environment in our lumber yards. We're doing wireless out there. And so we just really need to be focused on securing that, and ISE is going to allow us to do that. I think what's most valuable for us with ISE is the network access control, the security, the visibility that it gives us to what is on our network, and the control it gives us with those devices, whether they're company owned or BYOD, what have you. Anything on our network, we now have a little bit more visibility into and more control over how it performs and what access it has on our network. The main thing is going to be the way ISE will be able, or is improving our organization, is just that added layer of security, the physical layer there at the actual network jacks in our retail environments, and even in our corporate office and conference rooms. You know, we've got the ability now to allow those ports to be hot for a vendor to come in and plug in, and we're not having to rush and go make it hot for them, but we can still control what access they have without having to be hands-on all the time. The other thing also with vendors is in our stores, a lot of times we have some older technology from vendors that doesn't do wireless, and so we haven't been able to push it off to a guest network. But now with ISE, we are able to dynamically assign those types of devices to a wired guest network. I think it's helped us in kind of a shift to realizing that even if we thought we knew what was on our network and we thought we had control over devices, there's just so much out there that we day to day can't keep track of. And maybe a different department adds a computer that handles paint there, and we didn't know about it, and suddenly it's on our network. Now that we've got ISE, I feel like it's a big step in the right direction for us, increasing the trust on our network. Not having to trust devices and being able to set those levels of trust and control our network. So ISE has really helped us in supporting our distributed network because we're geographically diverse with remote sites in Texas and 5 surrounding states. So we can't always be out there hands-on, and with the retail environments, we can't rely on our employees in the stores to be technically minded all the time. So it really helps us not have to worry about that, not have to try and train people that aren't meant to be doing that kind of stuff, because their job is selling lumber. It's not always being there on top of the security of the network. So when it comes to improvements with ISE, I feel like even though we've been using it, there's still so much to learn because it's such a robust product. And I think maybe Cisco could do something to kind of counteract the stigma that ISE is cumbersome and hard to use, because there was a big pushback against us implementing it, because as VPs and executives start to talk, they want to talk about everything they've heard, and so they just get in their mind that things are the way they are, and so we had to push against that. The UI, I feel like, is not as intuitive as some other products, even products inside of Cisco's wheelhouse. To an extent, some of it feels like it's legacy and maybe could be improved upon. For what we're using ISE for, this is our first solution for network access control and kind of that visibility. For visibility, we do have CrowdStrike, and that gives us visibility onto our network, but it only acts on the agent, and I believe what it sees on a ARP request to know devices that it didn't already know about. So you feel like you can't really trust that, because if someone gets on maliciously, they're going to know enough to not just be blatantly, obviously there. They're going to you want to have a little bit more security based on when they first connect, I guess. So when it comes to licensing, I'm hoping Cisco is improving that, because that's always been a pain point. I usually rely on our account team, which thankfully we have one, to help with the licensing, because over the years it's just been so confusing and complicated, and so many different licenses for each different product and each different iteration of the products. So if I was to comment on return of investment on ISE, I don't really know where to begin, because it was something we never did before. It was somewhere where we were lacking. We just didn't have the time or the manpower to do what ISE will do for us. I'm sure someone out there can crunch the numbers and quantify the ROI on stopping an attack or a breach, but I don't have those numbers, and thankfully we haven't had one yet. I mean, I think manpower, for us, we didn't have the manpower to do it right, so doing ISE saved us the need to invest in that manpower. Majority, we're private. We are starting moving some stuff to Azure, very little AWS. Right now, 3.1. I can't remember the patch number after that, but 3.1. The deployment of ISE is definitely more complex than other things, but it's just inherently part of it, because there's a lot of prep and planning to set up how you're going to handle certain types of devices, and you start realizing that you hadn't even thought of some things and accounted for other things. So definitely a big exercise in that prep work for it, and kind of filling out questions and keeping spreadsheets on everything on your network. But I mean, it was eye-opening, good experience, but yeah, there's definitely quite a bit of work into setting up ISE. For us, we've got, we're kind of juggling a lot of things at one time. So 6 months, and a lot of that was not just dedicated to ISE. So we're still doing I guess it's all a day job, but still doing the other parts of our job. To get help setting it up, we use a reseller, VAR. They usually sell and have resources that can help us. So Accudata is who it always was, but they recently purchased by Converge. I don't think there's anything wrong with sharing who we bought it from and who helps us out, but we've got a great relationship with them, and they've always got great resources and great account teams. I really like Cisco's products. Sometimes I just have trouble with the support, because you're getting someone that doesn't know your environment, which is going to happen, but you're also sometimes getting someone that doesn't realize that you might know what you're doing on you've already turned it off and back on, but they've got to walk you through those steps no matter what you tell them. And that can be frustrating, and you feel like it's a battle to get to the point where you actually start working on the solution. I mean, not to say it's not the same with everyone, but we definitely, when we do have to work with Cisco, it's usually a bigger problem when we've got to actually engage TAC, and it's kind of hit or miss. Sometimes they're great and just click and get the problem fixed, and other times it's just an uphill battle, back and forth, just can't get on the same page. So. Probably a 6.5, just on my experience. But our account team from Cisco, our systems engineers that support us, their support's always been above a 9, maybe pushing a 10. They just are always there and great to work with. So one thing with Cisco is we haven't really ever had issues with stability, and ISE lines right up with that. We're doing the virtual appliances, we're doing the VMs. Haven't had any issues there, as long as you know the caveats that go along with their setup. Yeah, no issues as far as performance or uptime, anything there. So scalability with ISE goes back to that setup, that initial planning phase, and just identifying your networks and your devices and what you want to do. But once you get it set up, then scalability is not an issue. But it's definitely the more complex your network, the more time you're going to spend on the pre-setup. I would give ISE a 7 out of 10. There's definitely room for improvement, but I feel like it's a good product, and we're not even using everything we could on it. So I wouldn't say just jump in and buy ISE. I'm not trying to talk badly about anything, but I would say, do your due diligence and understand your network and what's going to work for you, and definitely understand that you're getting into a lot with ISE. There's a lot of capability, but it's, I don't feel like if one person working on 100 networks should be taking that on and trying to manage it themselves.